Thank you. All right, I'd like to convene the Budget Committee meeting for the San Lorenzo Valley Water District. We are,
That's her right there.
oh, good. July 8th, I believe, at 4 o'clock. Lee, would you take roll, please?
Bob Bretz,
Here.
Brian Margay,
Here.
Carl Larson,
Here.
and Nikki should be joining us shortly.
Okay, very good. All right. You see your parking or you saw her?
Yeah, I thought I saw a car.
Okay, all right. Well, we can go through the routine stuff here. I do not have any changes to the agenda. Anybody else? No? Okay. Sherry, nothing you want to, volumes want to add? You've already got enough.
Yeah, we've got plenty to cover today.
Yes, you do. I noticed that. Okay. Any public members have a comment? No. All right. Welcome, Nikki. I'm impressed with your boom, not a wasted second. Okay. All right. We had no changes. There are no oral communications, Nikki. So now we're on the new business.
Okay.
And the investment policy, why don't you take it away?
All right, so we have to bring the investment policy to the board every year to get it reapproved. So this is just the first step in that. I plan on taking it to the next board meeting on the 23rd. I'm not proposing any changes. I think it's well written and serves its purpose, but because we do have to get it approved by the board every year, this is, like I said, just the first step.
Okay. Thank you. And I think the next board meeting might end up being on the 21st of July.
21st.
I think so. Yeah, there were two options, and so Jason and I were discussing how could we get the most board members to attend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Okay. All right. Yes, either way. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. So we're basically reviewing it and seeing if there's any comments from members here. And Brian, did you have any thoughts on it, or?
I think that what I learned, so I really appreciate it. I understand most of what's in here. It makes a lot of sense to me. I think the only suggestion I might offer is, my understanding is that as a public agency, we are constrained by statute or regulation as to what we can invest in.
That's correct. Yeah.
Like there's a bunch of stuff that's just off the table. We can't put it in the stock market. We
No
can't
private
buy-
equity for us.
Right.
Right.
And I didn't see that kind of explicitly outlined. And of course, it's not necessary, because if we can't do it, why entertain it? But from an educational person, to the degree that this is educational for the reader, it might benefit from some
Sure.
clarification, or in the memo accompanying it, some explanation that our options are very limited to these types of investments.
Mhm.
And that might help explain why the return is low. And of course, it's all in service of minimizing risk. And I appreciate that being very clearly articulated as the number one thing. Don't lose people's money.
Right, exactly.
Right. Yeah, there are three objectives: were safety, liquidity, and return on investment. So I think that's the correct order, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So but I appreciate it. And that was my only curiosity.
Sure, we can definitely add that in.
Okay, good. Carl, do you have any thoughts or questions?
No, I thought it looked fairly boilerplate in terms of the kind of transparency and kind of end goals of it. It was interesting to see all the local funds that are in there too. So I think that part's at least good, that it's not all just in the S&P 500. We at least have some local investing going on. But otherwise, I thought it kind of all looked fairly straightforward. But yeah, no questions from me on it.
Thank you. And Nikki?
Yeah, no questions.
Nothing? Okay. Yeah, I think I'm good too. I noticed that it did talk about maturity and diversification, but it didn't, I guess it's philosophies, but it didn't say how to do it or
Right,
what to
because that's
diversify.
going to depend on what you're investing in, whether it's a
Right.
a loan or a COP or a this or a that, so it's
Right. And I did notice that, I mean, I guess the top two that you had in the list there were Leif and the Santa Cruz Investment Pool, right? And that's where most of our funds are right now, right? A different, well, it's. Yeah, I guess we'll do it later where you tell us where cash is residing and what interest rate it's making. It also indicated that U.S. Treasuries were okay. Is that any maturity or because I know the goal was to hold an investment until it matures, and so that would be very short term. Is that typically what would be done or
That's not something I've ever done. I
okay?
would have to research that. I don't want to
Okay.
give you an incorrect answer.
Okay, because I saw it as an option. And I thought, oh, that's interesting because it would probably make slightly better than we're making, but maybe it's not worth the fraction of a percent.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right. Are there any other comments from committee members here? Any public?
Nobody online.
No one online. So disappointed. Okay, in that case, did you need I guess you are recommending that we adopt this and present it to the board, is that correct? Okay. So I guess I would like to move that our Budget and Finance Committee recommend that we move this investment policy as proposed and present it to the board.
I'll second that.
Bob Russ,
Yes.
Brian Margay,
Yes.
Carl Larson,
Yes.
and Nikki Ramos Beeman.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. So moving on to the second item.
So this one is the what I'm calling revenue source guide. Back a couple meetings ago, there was a question about what miscellaneous revenue was. So I just kind of built this out real quick, just to kind of explain each revenue category and where it comes from. I'm actually planning on putting this chart in our budget book. So if you have any suggestions, if I want to make sure it's easy to read and easy to understand so that when I do put it in the budget book, our ratepayers can see, where our revenue is coming from. I think that would be a good addition to that. So that's why I'm presenting it here, both so that you can see our revenue categories, but then also to get any feedback you might have.
I love it. Appreciate you putting the effort in to present this new document. I would have loved this when I first joined the budget committee a year and a half ago. It's like, oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
It's all right here. Let's see.
What's a private fire service that people
same.
might have? Is that like a separate source of water for their property?
So that is what it's the CZU fire. There was an additional charge added to help the recovery efforts of that. So it's not going to be a forever thing. I want to say 2 more years, but I could be thinking about something else at the same time.
Is it separate from the standard fire surcharge? This private fire?
Yeah.
That's a separate.
Okay.
It's a separate chart. I see.
I think there might be 2 items. One is a fire recovery surcharge down under capital and restricted funding sources.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm talking about with the CZU. Okay,
I was talking about the private fire charge in the top where it's with private fire service connections.
okay, so that I would have to look into. Maybe I can provide a little bit more detail to that because yeah, I'm obviously getting the 2 mixed up. So I will I'll look into that and then add some more information to that. That's a good catch.
How's the apportionment of the property taxes determined? Like how much the water district gets?
It's determined at the state level. The majority of it obviously going to go to the county. from my city background, I was, expecting we were gonna get a lot of property tax because that's what cities do. And then I saw what we actually get and I was like, oh, okay. But they proportion it out to fire district, schools, anything and everything. And so that's worked out. It starts at the state level. I believe the county level can make changes based on population use, that sort of thing. But there's not really a whole lot of changes made to it. It might be a fraction of a percentage year over year.
But is it like a per capita apportionment or?
For the most part, yes. Because we are in different cities and everything, it's gonna be based on our users rather than cities. And then the different cities will get some as well. If they're not an incorporated city, then it would just stay at the county level to then provide services to that unincorporated area.
That might be where that's an interesting line of questioning to maybe next time around, just look up how is that determined, and actually can it change? In my own mind, I was thinking, well, we're given whatever the percent is of our parcels that are 8,000 households or whatever it is that they have, and we get some percentage of the total revenues collected for property taxes every year. So that would be interesting just to know, is that there's any volatility associated with that or not. And one other analysis I remember us going through a while ago, doing the budgets for the CO, the certificate of performance or participation rather, was that we actually expect property tax revenues to grow by 5 to 7% per year because of turnover. So it's not just that 2% that Prop 13 limits us to.
Right.
So that's one good news about property tax revenues, that they will actually increase at a pretty nice rate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Any other questions, Carl or Nikki? No? How about you, Brian?
Actually, I'm curious, are there any facilities that we currently rent out for rental income?
Yes, these two,
Yoga and.
This is owned by,
Yes.
this building's owned by the Dwellers. Got it. Okay. That's it though, right? Just it?
I
Yeah, we
believe
don't
that.
rent anything else out.
Cool.
And we get rental income from some cell service providers, right?
Oh, well,
Yes.
yeah,
That's a separate one. That's the mobile.
Oh, that's the mobile, right? Okay.
Services.
Mobile services lease fees.
Is that because there's like a tower on land that's owned by the district? Okay.
well, it's tower on, excuse me. It's tower on land that's, the district has an easement to,
That's right.
so it's right next to the probation tank. Up on top of Granville Road.
So you can rent out something that you have an easement. That's interesting. Did not know you could do that.
Well, the easement, the
Election
land
stuff.
is owned by, is it Caltrans?
No, the land's owned by the county.
By the county. Ah, okay. Which, and so it's apparently, the county didn't want to rent it out directly. They wanted us to be in the middle. And I don't know why.
It's been like that for years.
That's nice though. You get the info.
Yeah. Okay. Brian, anything?
I'll just say that I found this super helpful, comparing this roster of revenue sources with the budget is really interesting, and kind of gives you the sense of scale of, and I guess this is kind of more a comment than anything else, but it seems like the usage, basic charge, et cetera, and property taxes is the vast majority of the budget.
Mhm.
Even property taxes is I don't know, maybe 10%-ish
Right.
of the total. And it's mostly the usage fees, and all of these other sources of revenue exist, but they don't move the needle a whole lot
Right.
on, anyway, I found that interesting to go back and forth and compare them, but I think it's a really terrific guide to how the district works. Started making me curious about how the relative magnitude of these different revenue sources and how those have changed over time.
Mhm.
that's for another day. But,
Sure. No, I like it though. That's kind of that would be a cool project to look at.
yeah, it would be very interesting. But anyway, thank you very much for putting it all together.
No
Thank you.
Yes. If there's no further comments from the committee, anyone online?
No, sir.
No, okay. This is great. Thank you very much for putting the effort in and presenting it to us. All right, so we're back with the procurement policy that I think we had discussed 2 months ago, right?
We did.
Okay,
So yeah, I made the changes based on our last discussion. So in the packet, we have the red line version of the policy, a clean version, just so it's a little bit easier to read. And we've got the summary of the changes. And then I also put in there the purchasing limit comparison for districts
other
that are
districts.
around here. And then we had talked about the purchase orders and the total that we have there, just to kind of see what would be alleviated from staff's work if we were to raise the PO limit up to 10,000. So yeah, wherever you want to start. That's a lot of information.
yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, and I appreciate the you're including the comparison with other districts because I just had no idea. I mean, are we an outlier too low, too high? I just didn't know. So it actually looks like we're giving our revenues and stuff a little bit on the low side.
Yeah.
So it's probably appropriate, and I think that's why you had proposed it a couple of months ago, and it's very helpful.
I thought about not really including Valley Water just because, but I left it in there. I was like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. What was it, 275 or something? 250. It's like, okay, that'll
Clara, wow,
couple of those
Santa
will do
Clara's
it.
budget pretty big.
It might be $100 million.
almost $1 million.
They're almost $1 billion a year.
Almost billion.
Billion a year. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
$1 billion a year. Yeah, they're in another category.
They also got several million people too.
Right.
I think they've got 1,000 people. I had looked that up just a few days ago.
1,000 staff.
Staff. That's
Staff.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
$1 million budget for water.
So we're just a week or two away from achieving that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, and I appreciate the changes you made to the whole exemptions, because I know that was a question that we had last time. The $15,000 exemption for maintenance contracts for the prevailing wage, and then 25,000 for construction contracts. And then otherwise, the prevailing wage that is set by, what is it, Department of Industrial Relations?
Yeah, it's the state.
DIR. Okay, it's state. And do they have regional numbers, or is it just like just statewide?
Yeah, just statewide, as far as I know.
Okay, yeah, because boy, that would be, I mean, I just have to assume prevailing wages in the Central Valley are very different from the coastal cities, just in general. But
Yes.
yeah. And so I guess we have no choice. This is just,
Correct.
we just have to follow this rule, and so our contracts have on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it this case that the state regulations set the threshold dollar amount for contracts that require?
Yes.
I see.
$1,000. So basically anything over 1,000 has to have a prevailing wage attached to it. And as I recall, anything over 30,000, the contractor has to show that they have an apprenticeship program, which is like, holy smokes, that's it's not a big contract to justify an apprenticeship, but
Right. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, I respect and value the importance of paying a fair wage and of people who work for a living earning enough money to live where they work. But I do know that the paperwork compliance for this is very onerous, and many small businesses can't participate in prevailing wage contracting simply because of the burden reporting and tracking and
Yeah.
offering apprenticeships.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
and all of
if
that.
you're small shop, that's probably not even feasible.
Right.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and I guess you have to file this PWC 100 within 5 days. So there's like you say, a lot of paperwork
And a lot of
has to be
vulnerability.
timely too.
The enforcement mechanisms are all external lawsuits that can be quite punishing.
Okay.
If someone fails to do fairly rudimentary paperwork, it's easy to make mistakes, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
Do we hire a firm to assist us on compliance?
We do, for the wage reporting.
Yep.
As far as anything else, I don't believe so. That would be more of a Garrett question.
Yep.
But, yeah, we do for the wage reporting.
At the organization where I work, we receive a fair amount of public grant funds, all of which have prevailing wage requirements. And we've started including in all of our grant budgets sufficient funds to hire the prevailing wage consultant to make sure that all of our contractors and any of our staff who work on it all have all of the right boxes checked.
And I hope you're paying the prevailing wage to the consultant who's doing the prevailing wage contract.
Right, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
It sounds like a Dr. Seuss, it's a Dr. Seuss story,
Right,
right?
right. Exactly.
Beekeeper watching the beekeeper.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did have, I appreciate the breakdown for the last basically 5 fiscal years for just the size of purchase orders, just to give us because I know that was one of the questions we had last time. And it's remarkable. I mean, we basically doubled the number of POs of any size, right? That are now going through the system. Is that basically because we're really picking up all of these construction and maintenance projects? We're finally getting to it. Is that what's
The
driving
last
it?
couple of years, there haven't really been a whole lot of projects going on, and now we're ramping up. We've got our new 16.5, so we're ready to go.
Yeah, I saw that.
16.5 what?
We just got that COP for the 16.5 million.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So I'm just, I'm curious because I had that same question, right? We went from 5 POs over 50,000 to 12 this year. So can you just, I know nothing, right, about these projects. So can you just maybe just tell us about a few?
Sure.
So maybe you and I can help
I
here
mean,
too.
yeah,
Because the board has approved these
Yeah,
contracts and I'm trying to think of,
There's the Highland tank that we're working on, that's been almost pretty much done, the south tank, Echo tank.
yeah, tanks, that's right. And engineering services for the tanks,
Yeah.
those were
Okay.
some over 50,000.
Yeah.
The tanks themselves are over a million
Yeah,
a
Highland
piece.
tank's almost pretty much done.
It's all the capital and construction.
It's a lot of
projects, yeah.
capital, right? Yeah, it's almost all capital. I think our one, who was it to Essential Operations, to help us with the Bear Creek wastewater, was that over 50 or was it just under? I don't recall. It was right around there.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. It was a not to exceed. It was,
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts as a PO.
Yeah, I assume that was a professional services agreement. Would that show up here or would that not be?
Yeah, that would be.
That would show up.
Okay. Yep. And then there was another environmental consulting firm. I don't know if that exceeded 50,000, but it was around 50,000. Denise Duffy Associates.
Right.
There's that one. I don't know.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, all of them have to do with all of these projects that we're trying to either catch up on maintenance or build, from we replaced all of these are old redwood tanks that are they were 75 years old, 100 years old. I have no idea. They almost last forever, but not quite.
Wow.
Maybe
Yeah.
the only one left.
So these are, 120,000 gallon steel welded and steel bolted tanks, and they're very cool. But
And are they put together on site or they're delivered in?
they're put together on site. Yeah.
And the redwood, what happens to the big redwood tanks?
A lot of the wood we've either sold for like recycling. The last one we did, I believe, was completed in the contract, so the contractor was gonna repurpose it.
Cool.
Oh, nice.
And that's like
Yeah,
100-year-old.
100-year-old redwood
That's
state, that
crazy.
would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conditioned by water, all
Tried
that.
to be local, so someone else can reuse it.
And so the steel tank might be a $1 million project, but then associated with that could be a $100,000 engineering or geotechnical testing contract to make sure that all the compaction around it is sufficient, so it's
Yep.
not prone to settling over time. And there
Right.
might be a tens of thousands of dollars contract for environmental consulting to make sure that the habitat near the tank is not damaged in some way with
Yeah.
all the comings and goings and construction.
Mm.
And so one big capital project may have associated with it a handful of significant contracts.
Cool. Thank you.
Actually, this brings up another interesting new strategy that the district is just going to start. And that is as part of the financial model, and the general manager, Jason, has begun this effort of building an in-house construction group. So instead of always going out of house and paying a contractor to put in a pipeline or, replace a pipeline or whatever, we're going to try our in-house crew to see if we can put in, a few thousand feet of 8-inch pipe. And we're hoping maybe save half the money.
Cool.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
as part of the modeling, and we'll spend more time on this in other meetings, the more of this what's called pay-go, so pay as you go, self-funded work really stretches our dollars. And depending upon whether we can do 60 or 70% of the construction work ourselves, or do we have to hire a contractor every single time, it's obviously a huge impact on the district finances over the next couple decades.
And why wouldn't we be hiring our own crews?
Well, we have to prove that we can do it cost effectively. And
Keep 'em on
and I
payroll all
mean,
the time, right?
with that,
You have to keep them on the payroll all the time, so you got to have the projects going.
that's right. That's right. And so that's a key part. So right now, what Jason is proposing to do is hire, one very short-term project with temporary workers, and if
Very
those guys
seasonal.
work out,
Yeah.
then, so there is a trade-off. That's right. Because I think there's plenty of work to do in the district, but we just need to make sure that we're not just, having people working and then not working. So, yeah. But it's an exciting strategy for us. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, in this job market, you might have a lot of folks who are okay with temporary and seasonal, at least as a way to get in,
To get
get some
started.
experience, get something on their resume.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in my job, we hire mostly temporary, seasonal, and the labor laws in California are sort of helpful when it comes to temporary seasonal. It's easier to start there, in my opinion, than starting with full-time, always on the payroll folks.
Right.
So it's trickier, especially in California, right? We all
Right.
know.
Right.
So,
Well, and I guess part of the idea is that by hiring temp, you also find out who's good, who's motivated, who shows up,
and you hire from within.
and then make that person permanent or something. Yeah. So.
It sounded like that was going to start with the kinds of projects that we do all the time, like pipeline projects. We were probably doing all the
We
time.
will do all the time.
Yeah.
A water tank, maybe not, and because of the steel work, et cetera, maybe that's a specialty trades, and that's where the contracting would be.
We would still have to. Yeah,
Yep.
that's right. But replacing pipelines, we're
Routine
apparently
stuff.
pretty okay with that, I guess.
Right, which
Yeah.
is good because we have
Yeah.
100 miles to go or something.
Yeah, we have 190 miles of pipeline total. So, probably the vast majority needs to be replaced. Because a lot of these pipes are only 1 inch in diameter, which obviously is not, barely meets what's called maximum daily demand, and certainly wouldn't meet any fire capacity demand, right? So in the long run, we'd love to replace all of these. Yeah. I did have a question about rollover purchase orders. What does that mean? Because now we're at 81.
So basically it's just a purchase order that was made in the prior fiscal year and you're moving it to the new fiscal year. So some examples for that are
Yeah.
the CIP. They're never gonna be done at the end of the fiscal year. They're gonna be done whenever they're done, so
I
we're gonna
see.
roll those over.
Oh, okay.
Other ones are like blanket purchase orders where you say, oh, I'm gonna purchase this amount of fuel. And you haven't used it all, so you just roll it over,
Got you.
that sort of thing.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, so like in 5 years ago, when we say that we had 30 rolled over projects, those 30 aren't probably not the same that are now as part of,
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
They shouldn't
they,
be.
they phase out and there's new ones that have taken
Right.
place. Okay.
And so we're actually closing out the last fiscal year right now. So that was part of our process, was saying, okay, which POs are we closing and which ones are we rolling over? And something I've seen is the staff didn't really have that leadership a couple years ago. And so they just rolled over anything and everything that they,
I see.
and so we're tightening down on that.
Good. Good. No, that's good. Okay. Good. And then I know offline I had asked you about contracts that were like under or POs under 10,000, and it looked like there were very few. And I guess that's just, why is that? I mean, is there, because part of this procurement policy is to give department heads purchasing cards up to 10,000 limit, and then other personnel 3 to 5. And so I was thinking, oh, there must be dozens of these instances, but it's more for just convenience or?
Yeah, it's for convenience.
Okay.
If you're gonna use a company a lot, you want them as a vendor in our system. And then we can pay them with a check or an ACH. If you're just doing a one-time purchase, you're gonna put it on your purchasing card.
Got it.
And you could put it on your purchasing card and then be like, oh, I really like these people, and add them as a vendor later. So that's part of it. I think another part is, even if it's on the purchasing card, it still has to have a PO.
Oh,
And
oh,
so,
okay, I missed that.
yeah,
That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
so
okay.
it still has to go through that approval process,
Got it.
even with the card.
Okay. Yeah. So it's got the checks and balances that were also outlined in that.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Good. Oh, and is the adding of a contract administrator, it makes a lot of sense. That's new? Or, because it was all in red, so
Yes, that's all. new.
that's all new. Okay. Wow. Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that it wasn't there before.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of something that you should probably have in all of your purchasing
Absolutely, yeah.
policies,
You
so.
always need a point. Who's the primary point of contact? Yeah, no, that's great. And I noticed that regarding surety bid guarantees, that you added something basically that says that we would comply with federal minimum guarantees. Maybe I just don't understand what that means. What's going on there? That we had some guarantees that wanted more, and the Feds say it's a lower number for surety bonds, I assume?
So that is, again, not something I'm too familiar with. I'm just using the language that the GFOA suggests.
Okay.
That's the Government Finance Officers Association. But the way I believe it works is the federal limit is set. And so you want to abide by that no matter what.
No matter what.
So if you want to put your limit lower than that, you certainly can.
I see.
Um,
But not recommended you put it higher.
right,
I see.
because we
Okay.
need to follow federal guidelines.
Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. All right, good. That's it for my questions. Any other questions?
I didn't have any other questions about the procurement policy.
Okay, all right. Nikki, any others?
Not that I haven't asked. Thank you.
Brian or? Anything come up?
I know that we discussed this previously, and I don't intend to impose any additional burden on staff in further revisions, and feel like this can go to the board for review. I'll just make the observation, this is on the section related to competitive bids.
Okay.
I'm on page 37 of the packet in the PDF. There's description of various methods for sealed bids being a low bid price determinative bidding process versus competitive bids, which is where there are multiple factors considered. And one of those factors would be price, but there may be other factors like anticipated quality of work based on the statement of qualifications and reputation, past experience, et cetera. I support both of those. In fact, competitive proposals is what I'm most familiar with and most confident in, because low awarding always to the low bid often introduces all sorts of challenges,
Right.
because there's ways to game that system and cause trouble later. However, I'll just mention that there's been projects recently proposed by the district where a scoring criteria was developed for a competitive proposal review process. And it wasn't entirely clear how that scoring system was developed or how it was applied.
Right.
And I don't know if that belongs at this policy level, or if that's just one department's implementation of the policy. But giving some guidance through you and Jason to staff on how to implement the competitive bid process would probably be helpful. Whether you want to put it in the policy to make it very clear how it shall be applied, I would defer to you on.
So I know that Jason, or I think that Jason's working on a policy for that. And it was mentioned that maybe combining those two. I don't know where he's at as far as developing that. And I wanted to push this forward. I'm thinking that when he does get that done and we get it approved, maybe we can combine them at a later date.
That's great. And taking it stepwise, let's get this, do the broad architecture, and then have something specific to address that narrow case. That makes good sense to me.
And then at the very least, we can add see this policy for further information.
Sure.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Terrific. That's great. Related to that, I think I am reading in here, so this is lower on page 37 under architectural engineering services. Competitive proposal procedures must be used for those types of services. Presumably the professional services have these qualifications that need to be met, and it would make sense for price not to be the only factor considered when you're talking about an architect or an engineer. If they aren't a good architect or engineer, you don't want to give them the job. But there's this provision that says this qualification method where price may not be used as a selection factor can only be used in procurement of AE professional services. And I guess I had that caught my eye, because I think price would probably still be a factor, but not the determinative factor. So I just wanted to highlight that little
it is curious
passage there as something that might be surprising and might not even be intended, because
I think it could be worded differently.
Yeah. Okay, great. I just wanted to point that out. And sorry for not finding that previously.
Oh, thank you. That's very good. Well, okay, I like the approach of when the general manager is finalized his competitive bidding process, his decision matrix, that would then, be discussed and approved, and we can append that later to this. If there's no more comments from committee members, anybody online? Okay, this is great. Thank you very much. Appreciate the bringing it back to us. Okay, and that's just information only, right?
Unless you are ready to take it to the board.
I think we are. What do you feel?
I'd be comfortable taking it to the board. I'd recommend last minute revisions along the lines of that one passage that
I agree with that.
Suggested.
I can bring it back one more time just because I know it's a lot of information. It's a lot of reading.
Yeah.
So I'd be fine to bring it back one more time before we take it to the board if that's what you'd like.
Okay, I'm okay with that unless
I'm-
you're both comfortable with how we would amend that. Is it, or we talk about the A&E piece?
that was the only one that
That's
I
the only one,
had
yeah.
had an issue with.
Well, let's move it forward.
Okay.
Yeah, if so I guess we would do you want to make the motion, Brian?
Sure. I
Yeah.
move that we advance this to the board with minor amendments as discussed during this meeting.
I have one more minor thing to suggest. I hope I'm not too late.
I don't,
No.
let's.
I think it's normal. Someone can make a motion
Right,
and then we can discuss more.
we can discuss more because no one seconded it yet.
Great.
So I think we're good. So
Okay.
Nikki, go for it.
It's just a tiny thing. It's going back to the district's bid guarantee may exceed federal minimum standards. It's a little bit unclear whether we're establishing a floor or a ceiling. So if we added a line that's something like, for federally funded procurements, the district will require no less than the applicable federal minimum, that will make it clear that we're establishing sort of a floor versus a ceiling. That was my only, only
Does that
addition.
sound reasonable, Jerry?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. So you're doing what's called a friendly amendment
Okay,
to Brian's motion.
okay.
And so he's amending it to include the A&E competitive issue, and you're amending it to include no less than.
Okay,
All right.
cool.
All right.
Great. Procedurally, do I have to say anything about my motion? to
I think maybe
acknowledge
just,
this
well, just,
good
yeah, maybe
addition?
just go ahead.
I'll
I think
acknowledge
so.
that appropriate
And you're-
addition and
okay.
I support that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll second the motion with the two suggested amendments.
Bob Russ.
Yes.
Ryan Largay,
Yes.
VP Remote Bevan,
Yes,
and Carl Larson.
Yes.
Motion has passed.
All right, super. All right. All right, review of water connection fees, right? That's the next on the list.
It's rolling down. Bear with me.
Yeah, that's okay, yeah,
79.
yeah.
So basically what this is a member of the public spoke at one of our board meetings and suggested that we look into changing this fee. It was not included in our rate study from 2024 because it is not part of the 218 process. And that study focused on the 218 side of things. So this water connection fee hasn't been updated since 2017. I've listed the current fee in the memo. So before staff does a lot of work in, coming up with a potential new fee schedule, I just wanted to see if we're interested in that or if I need to get some thought.
this could raise revenue for the district.
What's that?
If the fees increase, it's gonna raise our revenue.
It will, but we'll probably get pushback because nobody likes increased fees, so
Are
something
these
to think about.
really for new construction essentially, or when do they get utilized?
So new construction, but also if you're going from one, like say you're going from a 3/4 inch pipe to a 1 inch pipe, you're not gonna pay that 17,000 for a 1 inch, you're gonna pay the difference. So 7,100 and change is what you would pay.
And most of the houses are on 1 inch. Is most of the systems like that or no?
Mostly
Um,
5/8 and,
Oh, the smallest.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
5/8 and 3/4. That's your understanding, Scott?
Yeah.
We actually had a question just at the board meeting a week ago where someone wanted to add an ADU. And so that means the potential, flow requirements really kind of push that to go from, say, a 5/8 to a 1 inch. And so the normal process would be, all right, well, then you have to pay for a bigger meter and a higher connection fee.
Okay.
And I didn't appreciate till I read this that this connection fee is supposed to cover two parts of the cost. The direct costs associated with, exchanging it and giving them a bigger meter, a bigger connection, which I assume is maybe a lateral running from the main.
Well, that would be their service line, yes.
It's the service line, right? But also some percentage of the whole infrastructure assets that they now are going to have access to. And I hadn't appreciated that. So I mean, I guess one of my questions, just for reference, and I don't know if this is a lot of work or not, and maybe I would suggest, just as a precursor, that if you could send that 2017 report to all of us for reference, the original consulting report that came up with these
Yeah.
numbers from,
Yeah,
I assume that's
Yeah.
available, and yeah, I don't, maybe it's even available online, but I don't know. Yeah. In that case, just maybe send us the link. That'd be great. Because I'm personally very curious about how was that analysis done to determine how much of the district assets are you now accessing? Is that half the cost or 10% or 90%? I have no idea. Right. And then how much is associated with, direct costs? I from an inflation only point of view, inflation has been about 34% in those 10 years. So basically 1/3, right?
Yeah.
So, if you just added 1/3 to all these numbers, that's certainly a big increase, but. And you could certainly make the argument that in general, should always keep up with inflation. Do you know, from a process point of view, do we have to do a formal analysis to change our connection fees? Or can the board say we're just going to increase it by inflation and call it good? Do you know?
you can always increase by inflation.
You can.
That's pretty standard.
Okay.
But doing a more in-depth analysis would probably be better public facing. So that just depends on how you want to handle it all. It does not need to be a Prop 218 process. So we have a little bit of leeway with that,
Okay.
but
Do you know what we paid for that 2017 report?
I don't.
Okay. Because that would be an interesting number to know. I mean, was it 25,000 or was it 100? I have no
I
idea.
know for the 2024 Raftellus, we paid 60.
60. Right.
And that's the report you want, the 2024?
No, the 2017. Yeah.
I was thinking it might be interesting to just look at a comparable district in terms of their budget, like Mid-Peninsula Water District, and what their charges are for their fees. It looks like what I can find, and this may not even be correct, but that a 1-inch pipe is $17,000 for a connection fee for Mid-Penn, which is right around what we have.
But ours is.
Yeah.
That's our old number. Yeah.
So I mean, that might be the first place to start, just looking at, besides doing a huge study, just look at similar districts and see if you can find their fee scale. Is it similar to ours? Because 10 years is a long time to go without raising your fees. On the other hand, if it's what we're charging is comparable to other districts with the same, budget, then maybe there's not a study warranted. So
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, the committee supported staff working on this because it was just a suggestion from a member of the public, which sometimes is not a
I
focus. of the
appreciate you
board.
jumping on it actually and
Yeah.
bringing it to our attention because I remember that and it's like, yeah, you're right. It's been 10 years.
Out of curiosity, it kind of seems like, and maybe the 2017 report says this, the cost goes up not like exponentially, but much higher as that diameter kind of increases. Is there a reason why? And I imagine like the 8 inch, is that for like industrial applications or something where you're getting really,
I
because
don't
it does seem like
believe-
it goes up quite a bit in the higher
Yeah,
ones.
I don't believe 8 inch is hardly ever used.
Yeah.
I can't
I think
imagine.
it's just kind of on there just in case. Typically, the largest you're gonna see is a 6 inch,
Oh, okay.
from what I know, right?
But yeah, even with that, it still seems like it's dramatically more expensive than the smaller piping.
Yeah.
Do we have a 6-inch customer?
The school,
The school.
Oh, so a place like a school, like a really large institution would use something like that. Okay, that makes more sense too. Okay.
Okay.
It also looks like Mid-Penn hasn't changed their rate since 2018, so. Right.
And probably use the same consultant.
Yeah.
To cut and paste. Okay.
they probably have our report.
Yeah, right. That's right, because they were 1 year later, right?
Maybe that's
Um,
why.
Do you have any estimate of how much staff time would be involved?
To just do a quick comparison of the numbers. I mean, that would take me maybe a couple hours with a couple interruptions, so I'm
Right.
not too worried about getting that done. I can do that before the next meeting.
Okay. Okay, because you would outline what's look like what could be a more, quite a bit more involved process. And what would that be?
It depends on how involved you want to get.
Okay,
So if you want to just do a real quick comparison for the next meeting and then see from there.
Yeah.
I think that's a good plan,
yeah,
to see if it's even worth it.
It would be interesting to see the percentage of connection fees in each bucket, users.
Yep.
Percentage of users in each bucket.
Yeah.
Because if like 95% fall into one category, then it's like, yeah, how much
Yeah,
do you
we-
need to know the rest
I
of them?
remember the numbers. We are like 85% residential, which will be 5/8 to 1 inch.
Yeah, and
Right,
it's like, how much do you want to impose more burden on them versus larger users? I don't know.
yeah, and our district is projected to have very nominal growth, so,
Hmm.
it's not like we're gonna be doubling in population. in 20
Right.
years, and we really need to think about these,
Right.
so,
That's a good point.
that's the other side of
Yeah,
it.
that's a good point.
And I don't think we want to, burden you, especially Sherry, with lots of work, but maybe just doing a quick comparison with local, I mean, I guess that would be Scotts Valley, Santa Cruz Water District, SoCal.
Yep.
Are there any
Basically
others?
the list from the POs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably not including Valley Water, but.
and not including Valley Water.
Interesting to see, what are they charging over there?
Just a couple comments on
Please,
this.
yeah, yeah.
I think on principle, a new connection, the way I think about it is this is someone joining our district, generally speaking. And that is something that it is, as we've discussed in the context of whole other water systems joining our district, is something where we don't want existing users to be subsidizing the new joiner. We want the new joiner to kind of pay their fair share to take advantage of the benefit of joining this institution and all of its infrastructure. And so at minimum, I think it's appropriate to escalate for inflation. That seems appropriate. I would, I imagine looking back over the past 10 years, the number of new connections is probably very, very small. However, so
Yeah, maybe compiling that too.
spending a lot of time or money
Yeah.
on changing these numbers to only have one new connection a year would be silly.
Yeah.
Even though we would like for them to pay their fair share, we don't want to spend $100,000
To get them to pay extra 5,000.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay.
So we don't need to be silly on that. However, what I am aware of is that, especially with the multiple factors driving potential new housing in the area, we may see several dozen, perhaps 100 new connections come in if either of the currently proposed larger developments for the area ever manifest.
Where?
And it would be appropriate to be ahead of that
Yeah.
and not last minute, because we don't want to give the impression that we're somehow discouraging those projects by
Or price gouging.
price gouging. That's right. That we don't want to we don't want to price gouge, and we don't want to give the impression of price gouging. So anyway, that's how I think of this stuff. So it is probably worth doing some housekeeping on, but not excessive.
So maybe to that point, and at least keeping up with inflation, maybe you just prepare a side column that if these were, I guess by the CPI urban index,
Sure.
compare 2017 to 2026 or whatever, what would that be? Because it's a very simple then proposal.
Mhm.
And this background of what is our breakdown customer wise, that would be helpful. And then over the last 10 years, who has joined?
Right, exactly.
I think that would be great.
Yeah, I think so.
One last editorial comment is not only is this the cost of the hardware, the meter, the pipe connection, and whatever fraction of the overall system people are paying into. From the time of the connection being built till the end of time, essentially, the district is now on the hook for fixing that meter, for replacing the stub out, everything between, everything on the district side of that connection is now the district's responsibility. And those things will fail, and it'll be a pain, and we'll have to send people out sometimes in the middle of the night to deal with them.
Yeah.
And so these numbers, I don't know if they look high to you, but to me, for a perpetual obligation that the district is assuming, they don't look that high.
And I don't know how accurate ChatGPT is, but I just did a quick calculation on the CPI index difference between 2017 and 2026, and it's 36.9%. So that, just using that
Yep.
alone.
And it increases all those numbers pretty substantially.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's certainly economically an easy argument to make. And it probably our costs, like most construction costs, are more than the CPI,
Eventually,
Yeah.
right?
right?
And in fact, that's an interesting question. There's a construction index.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's worth looking at too, is how much has the construction index regionally gone up over that same period of time? Yeah, and that is always more than inflation, more than the CPI. So maybe do two columns.
Sure.
Just because we could certainly justify that kind of an adjustment as well, and I appreciate your point, Brian, about we don't want to price gouge. We want to, at least not make sure we're not spending tons of money to do some big analysis if we're not going to, really have a lot of connections, but we might have there are some projects that are being proposed. Okay. Any other, and so, were you able to find that 2017 report?
I sent it to you to make sure it's the right one that you want.
Oh, okay, great. And if it looks right, if you could just forward it to,
I have the email set up to send you guys.
oh,
want to make
super,
sure
okay.
it's the right one you
You're
want.
gonna get the okay then. Okay, great. Because I would just like to see how this is done and just understand how much of the district infrastructure is assumed to be allocated.
I just sent it to you guys.
What's that?
Awesome.
Oh, okay, super. All right. Because as we spend, some of the bond money and really start to rebuild the district's infrastructure, we have more and more basis in our assets. And so in a way, that implies that the connection fee should be increasing too. Maybe construction index fee inflation is enough to cover that. I don't know. But all right, great. Okay, and this was for information, greatly appreciated. Any other thoughts, Nikki?
Well, according to ChatGPT,
Yeah.
California's construction cost index has increased from 2017 to June 2026, 60.7%.
Holy smokes. It's
Yeah.
almost double,
60.
60%.
That alone tells me it's worth at least looking into this, right?
Yeah,
Because-
yeah, because that's a huge number. Boy. Yeah. certainly be some people not happy, but we need to, you know, as Brian said, we need to make sure that people are paying their fair share and that ratepayers aren't subsidizing.
Yeah,
Um,
and construction costs have increased more quickly than just
Mhm.
general inflation.
Yeah, that probably works out to an average of 2% compounded annually. It's a huge number, you know, extra. Okay, thank you. Brian, any other thoughts?
No, thank you very much. Really looking forward to it. Thank
All
you for
right.
bringing that up.
Thanks.
Any people?
Nobody online.
Okay. Well, I don't know if that's good or bad. Okay, good. All right, that's appreciated, Sherry. And then let's see, I guess we move on. There was. Oh, we're moving on to the May report, right?
Yep, so this is the draft May financial status report. Everything's looking pretty good. We're at 92% of total revenue, 72 expenses. And we've still got all of our reserves. And you can now see on our cash balances, our 16.5 million COP. So that makes our total cash amount a bit larger than it was
No
before.
kidding. Yeah. You know, an obvious question does jump out for that 16.5 million that's sitting at US Bank. It's only at 3.11%, right? Do we have any other options? No. Boy, those guys are just making a mint.
Really?
We have no other. We can't say we want you to put it here or there.
No, because we chose them as our custodial bank,
Oh,
custodial institution.
I see. Okay. So for the 3+ years that they're sitting on some of our funds, they'll apparently be always a half point or 3/4 of a point lower than what we could be making.
Could be, this 3.11 was based off of their original documentation. We hadn't even received an official statement, monthly statement yet. So it could be a little bit off. When I update this for the board, you know, maybe that will change because we should have gotten a statement by now for June. So
Yeah, right.
we'll see if it changes. We can definitely keep an eye on it. But unfortunately, there's not a whole lot we can do about it.
Is this a rate that they publish online? I mean, so we can look it up?
I'm sure they do publish it somewhere. I know it's on our statements. I don't know where you would find it online, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you could.
And the only reason I'm asking is, I guess, just to kind of re-verify it, you know, because they can send us a statement saying X, but is that really what we should be paid? You know, and comparing it to the actual bond documents that we signed, is this correct? You know, I'm assuming it's variable, so it will change, but, and I guess, I mean, my crazy suggestion would be it probably doesn't hurt to call them up and say, you guys can't do better than that. They can always say, sorry, that's what you signed up for, and that's the end of the question. But, you know, who knows? You might find $50,000 extra through the district.
Never know.
You never know. Okay. Let's Brian, any
I
thought-
do not have comments.
Okay.
Thank you for preparing it. It'll be interesting to see how it wraps at the end of the year. I guess my only question was like for water usage fees, I am imagining we're at 83% instead of 11/12 because of the lag. Like water bills will get paid in July for June. And so we're always kind of a month behind
Yeah.
there and things like that.
So the good rule of thumb for any municipal accounting is your year isn't really over until September 30th.
Okay,
Just,
great.
just for your information.
So there'll be reconciliation all the way through. Terrific. Thank you.
So the fiscal year for us ends June 30th.
right?
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
So 80 being at 92% makes sense. We're not going to be over that. Okay. I was thinking, oh, wow, we're going to make a lot of money in the next 6 months, but we're out of the year's over.
Already finished the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if the sale of meters looks at $68,000, that's about 0.5% of the total income. So it's really not that much.
And I think that it might be, the 68,000 might be the connection fees. That might be
Right, that's what I was thinking. It was
Five or
five or six houses
Yeah.
connection. Yeah,
right,
there we go. Yeah.
not much.
Charles, you have any,
No, I thought trends are still looking good of expenses trending low and revenue at pace is always a good
Yeah.
sign. So yeah,
Agreed.
no questions.
okay,
I mean, we're over on operating expenses, but that's just because we're working on big projects or,
That, cost going up, unplanned expenses. Unfortunately, I wasn't part of building this budget, so I can't really answer,
got it.
as to why certain things were budgeted certain ways. But because the overall is looking good, I'm
Yeah.
not worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, overall, you're at 75%. That's under budget, so.
yeah, I actually. There was a comment that we were over, but I guess I'm not appreciating where is that? Or what would I?
Operating expense, 115%.
Under expenses, the third line
Here,
down.
on this big spreadsheet?
Yeah, this expense, operating expense.
Oh. Because there's operating expenses within operating expenses.
Oh, yes, yeah, that's
Okay,
curious.
that's what's confusing. It's like,
Thank you.
wait a second.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, so. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I almost wonder if that wasn't work being brought in-house that previously was going to be contracted out or something. I don't
That
know.
could be too.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Something
okay.
that we've been
Yeah,
doing a lot.
we're talking $65,000. So, okay, I was thinking, we're like hundreds of thousands off? Oh, okay.
And then the contract's down by 50%. So
Right.
that might be balance.
And we're under with salaries too. We're only at 74%. Is that because we have fewer people working here?
So, the reason for that is we budget everything in salaries, even CIP. But then whatever's being spent on CIP, we take it from our operating expense, salaries and we put it in CIP.
Got it.
CIP is the project category.
Yes.
Got it.
So when staff works on a project, they get billed, their time and gets billed to the project,
Yep.
not to the salary.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
So we should, as long as we're doing these big projects, we should always have savings in salaries.
Okay. Cool.
And some of those are grant reimbursable, which is terrific.
Yeah, and if they're doing pipeline replacement for half the contractor costs, we're saving a lot of money there too. Okay. I don't know if this is a lot of extra work, Sherry, but it would be interesting just to know for reference what I guess you would have this, the total salary number. And then I'm assuming the difference between total salary for say May
I can get that.
and this is what was allocated to capital improvement. You think that's
I
correct or?
actually have that number if you give me a couple seconds to connect to
Okay,
I can get that for you.
yeah.
Guess I'll be Wi-Fi guest,
Huh?
the network.
Yeah, I gotta connect to
Okay.
I haven't connected on there.
So the $1 million from the fire recovery surcharge, that comes from the state of California or from the federal government?
No, that comes from. so the
All of our
fire-
ratepayers.
Oh,
That's the,
that's that charge.
That-
Yes,
yes,
got
yeah.
it. $1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was over 5 years. And it
Right.
shows up on our property tax statements as a separate assessment.
I see.
Yeah, so
Is that this year that it expires?
never
I
noticed
think
that.
it is this year that might expire. Yeah, I
Mhm.
think so.
And the FEMA money, that's dwindling and going away, or would that be continually coming in?
So FEMA, it's based on how responsive they are, when we get the information that they require. With different projects, they require different forms and that sort of thing, so it's just. We're always waiting on FEMA.
Yeah, okay.
Trickling in.
But that's based on us asking them, not money that we receive on an automatic basis. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, FEMA's a wild card in our budget. And I don't know the exact number. Maybe you recall Sherry or Leah or Scott, but I think we have applied for in excess of $15 million of FEMA reimbursement. And as Scott said, it just takes forever. And part of it's, we have to do all the paperwork and unfortunately complete every little last bit of a project before they fully reimburse us. Maybe that's not quite right, but it's a very long process, and we're hoping that maybe over the next few years we do get millions, which would be great because that's basically then we'll just keep funding a lot of these things that we know we have to do. Because the total CIP that we right now know we have to do is 55 million. And so the 16.5 million is a third of that. So we have a lot more that we know we have to do.
Okay.
Back to your question about the salaries.
Yeah.
So as of May 31st, we've spent 5,818,000 on salaries, and we've offset 613,000 to CIP.
And so if I were to subtract the 5818 from what you're showing here, the actual, that is a 613. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there's no other category except for CIP that salaries would have been allocated to.
Yeah.
Okay.
In accounting, you cannot take anything from salaries and put it anywhere else. It's salaries and salaries. And that's that.
It can't be charged off as interest expense.
Nope.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Okay. Just verify. Okay. Thank you very much. All right. That's helpful. So really fully, so 10% of our salary expense is being charged against construction projects.
Currently.
Basically. Oh, okay. All right. That's interesting. All right. Any other thoughts from any committee members here or questions? Regarding the US Bank money, are we allowed to access the interest that we earned, or do they have to sit on everything forever?
They have everything, and we have to fill out some forms and show proof that we've spent the money before they can give it to us.
Okay, even for the interest.
Mhm.
Oh, interesting. Okay, all right. I guess I can understand the rationale for that. And then the escrow fund for some of our historical debt repayments, they're only showing interest earned of 0.3%. Is that, I guess I'll ask the same question. Is that written in stone? Is that, because it's like almost 200, 250. So it's a little bit of money. Do you know what the deal with that is?
I believe that was set when we created those escrow funds. So there's going to be no fluctuation.
Okay, it's just fixed and they're loving it. And we have to pay into that. Do we pay into it quarterly or semi-annually?
One is quarterly, one is no, one is twice a year and one is annually. That's what it is. Yeah.
Because then they make a payment once a year. Is that right? Or out of the escrow
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand how long are they sitting on these funds typically, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. And I'm assuming that the funds that we have with LAIF and the Santa Cruz County, we can access that money with 1 day notice. Okay. All right. Okay. Very good. That's it for my questions. Any other thoughts or questions?
I'm just curious. I don't know if this is appropriate to ask now, but thank you for sending the study. I noticed that it said the next step was to perform a rate study in the future. Was that ever done?
Yes, that was done in 2024.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. And that is what actually the district is currently working from. And rates were increased with a lot of controversy. I think the first 3 years were 10% per year.
Yeah.
And then the last 2 years are 7% per year. So we have that in our budget projections for the next, I think, 2 years, right? At 7%.
Yep.
For both the basic fee and the usage fees have, I think they have that built in.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so we just sent the leaks out. That's great.
Yeah, I can see
Thank
that
you.
one for you too.
There's another one?
It's the one that you're referring to, the 2024.
Okay,
Oh,
great.
okay,
I'd
so
love to see
both.
that. Yeah.
Good.
Then I'm also sending
That'd be
you
good.
a breakdown of the FEMA reimbursements from 2017 to 2026. Just to give you kind of an idea of what we've gotten so far. Kind of an
Okay.
idea.
Very cool.
Great, thank you. Fantastic. All right. Any other thoughts, Brian?
Nope.
You're good? Okay. And no one from,
Nobody's
no
online.
one's online. Okay,
They're missing so much though.
yeah. All right, well, I think that's it, right? We can adjourn, I believe. All right. All right, so we'll adjourn at 5:17, 5:18. Wow. Covered a lot of ground. Thank you very much, Sherry. Those
Yeah,
are,
thank you.
it's been really
Thank
helpful,
you.
very informative. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.